In this video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about planting garlic. So let's first talk about when you should plant garlic. I'm in zone 5 and I usually plant it near the end of September. The nights should start getting cool, but the days should still be warm enough so the garlic will set down some roots. After planting, this garlic will actually grow roots up until the frost. A few years ago, I tried an experiment where I planted garlic every month in September, October, November, and even January and February. And what I found was the sooner you plant the garlic, the larger your garlic bulbs will be next year. And that's why in my climate, I do it around the end of September. In warmer climates, you can wait till later in October or even November. Base it on your climate. After harvesting the garlic, I went through all the bulbs and I picked out the ones that were the largest. What you want to do is save those for planting. If you plant larger cloves, you'll get larger bulbs next year. So each year I've been selecting the largest possible cloves I can get. So this one dried a bit too much, but that's all right for fall planting. It won't keep well this way. You're better off having a bulb like this for keeping during the winter, but for planting, this is fine. Break it apart and have a look at the size of the cloves. So even though this is a big bulb, I still go through and pick the biggest cloves. So there's two very nice ones. This one's a little small. Certainly smaller than this other one, so I won't need it for planting here. I have enough large ones, so this one goes back to the kitchen and we'll eat it for dinner tonight. These aren't bad sizes. Take those out too. Now, if some of this paper covering comes off, don't worry about it. The bulb is still good. So go through and prepare all your bulbs. After I harvest my garlic in August, I just leave the straw in here. Keeps the weeds down and there's really no reason to remove it. But now it's my way. So the first thing I'll do is just rake all the straw away and then I'll start planting. Now I still have one garlic in here from the fall. I'm trying to get seeds on it and I'm going to make a separate video on how to get real seeds on garlic. So this one I'll leave in place. Now rake the soil a little smooth. Take out any weeds you find. Now I'm a strong believer in no-dig gardening, so I'm not going to dig this up. In fact, I've been using the same bed for garlic for 15 years now. And you can see my garlic's a pretty good size, so I don't have to dig this up. Now, there's a couple ways you can plant this garlic. I could go and just put the bulbs in directly. I could make a furrow all the way along here. Makes it a little easier for pushing the garlic into soil that's not quite so soft. Or I can just loosen the soil in the middle. I'll show you a couple different ways to do it. If you want to make a furrow, just use your rake. You're only going down about an inch. If the soil is good and soft, you don't even have to bother doing that. Just loosen it up a bit. When you're planting the cloves, it's not really important that you plant them the right way up, but it does make it a little easier for the plant. So try to get the roots going down. And how do you tell? Well, one end is quite flat. The other end's pointed. You want the pointy end up. Simple as that. And now it's time to put in the garlic. I've got it all separated, and what I'll do is I'll pick the very largest cloves I can find. Take them and push them in the ground so the tips are just below soil level. And I just leave them there so I can see the spacing easily. And I put them about that far apart. If you're using a furrow, it's the same process. Now once the garlic is in place, cover it up. And that's it. Now I'll leave the straw off for now because the sun is still fairly warm and that sun is keeping the soil warm. And I want these to start to grow. I'll come along here in about another month or so based on the weather. And if it starts getting cold, then I take the straw and I put it on and I cover this with a nice layer of straw. The reason I do that is that once the temperature is getting cool, I want the straw in there to keep the soil warm. I don't want the soil cooling down. I want to keep it as warm as possible, as long as possible. Now I'm in zone 5, so eventually we'll get a hard frost. But I want the roots from these to come out and grow as long as I can, and that gives me bigger bulbs next year. I might water them in right after planting, but after that I pretty much leave them alone because we get the odd rain in the fall, and I find they really don't dry out very much. Now we just wait till springtime, and that's it. There's nothing easier than growing garlic. I do have several other videos on growing garlic, and I'll put a link to those in the top right-hand corner.